Hello and welcome to Fifth and Grace. Today we're going to explore the question, are we any closer to an election in Canada? I know a lot of people are on the edge of their seats every single day waiting for the announcement that we're going to have an election. Today is the middle of November. So if we got an election called today, we could be done by Christmas. I'd have to do the math on that. But in Canada, for those of you who are in other parts of the world, our election cycle is 6 weeks. We don't have elections that take years. That's for sure. It's 6 weeks. Our parties are in place. They have leaders. Whichever party gets elected, their leader becomes the prime minister. We are under the parliamentary system, the same as in the UK and some other parts of the world. So when we vote, we don't actually vote for the prime minister. We vote for our local representative in the federal parliament. And so mine is, his name's Philip, and I've been to his winery, by the way. It's a pretty cool place. Pretty cool place. And he's very nice man, very nice wife, beautiful children. Just lovely people. So that's who we vote at that level. And then the party with the most seats. So if he wins this riding, then he gets a seat in the parliament. And the party with the most seats, they become the government. They form the federal government, and the leader of that party becomes the prime minister. A couple of years ago, we had an election. Has it been 3 years now? Oh God. No, okay, it was 3 years ago. We had an election. There was a leader, and many people, including the party, believed that he cost the Conservative Party the election. And so they got rid of him, and they had their own internal election to elect a new leader, and that's Pierre Poilievre. And so right now, Justin Trudeau is our prime minister. He's not a very well-liked man. And the reason I lay all that out for you is just in case this is the first time you have discovered me. If you are new here, welcome. I can't wait to get to know you. And if you are an old friend, thanks for coming back. I had a wonderful conversation with another Canadian friend the other day about this whole election thing. She was really digging my videos about whether or not we're going to get an election. So the last one I did was a while ago. A lot has happened since then. We did have the Bloc Québécois deadline come and go for his promise to topple the government if he didn't get his demands met by the federal government. And he did not. And so now we're waiting for him to make his move. And if he doesn't make his move, then once again, another party leader who can't be trusted, because Jagmeet Singh is the leader of the NDP. He entered into a coalition with Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party. And then he made a big big performative video tearing up the deal, the coalition, saying he was out, he was done, that Justin Trudeau hadn't met his demands and the coalition was done. But then since then, still keeps voting in support of Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party. So now we have two federal leaders who just can't be trusted to keep their word. Like, if you're going to say you're going to do something, do it. Don't mess with people. So let's have a little look and see what the cards have to say about Justin Trudeau and maybe what's going on, and are we going to get an election? Well, I have my bell, might as well ring it. Let's see what's happening. We're not going to read reversals here because we know the energy of the cards without them being reversed or upright. 10 of Pentacles, something is coming to a conclusion. Something is coming to a conclusion in our pentacles are our earthly life, our abundance, our money, our physical world. Oftentimes, if I see this card, I might say, like, are you moving or something like this? This is quite positive. This is quite positive because this could mean that Justin Trudeau is moving house. If we're going to talk about the house, we've got the House of Parliament, but he also lives in a house provided by by Canadians, essentially, to live up in Ottawa. Interesting. You know what? I'm going to move all my little notes here that I have from all my readings and look up the timing. September 12th to 22nd. Interesting. So if we're talking about this in terms of 2025 for this date, sort of the middle of September, if we're looking at this date, that would mean we are getting an early election, or it could mean that the election is going to be called at that time, which would line up exactly with our election scheduled, which is the end of October next year. Or this could mean that the wheels have started moving in September towards taking down the government. And let's be honest, we're Canadian. So when we're talking about taking down the government, like, we don't storm the palace. You know, we have bouncy castles and freedom fries and things like that. We just tend to, you know, Canadians, we're a little quieter. We're more demure. And we tend to we like to vote our way out of things, which isn't necessarily the best way of doing things. But yeah. That it could take a long time because Canadians are not necessarily rising up. All the protests and everything taking place in Canada right now, that's mostly people from other parts of the world protesting. But definitely there's something coming financially, materially. This could signify unexpected windfalls. And if the wheels of this started moving in September, which they did, because that's when all these votes of non-confidence started popping up. So they were all taking place at this time. So definitely there's something connected to that time. The Wheel of Fortune, it is an evolving situation. Absolutely. Let's check the timing of this as well and see what we've got. No timing. So now or before we're ready. And so this is cycles of life. This is about fate. This is growth and cycles of growth and change. So we could be in one right now. I know the country is definitely changing quite rapidly. More and more and more people tell me that they're done. They're ready for an election. They want this guy gone. And even his own brother has said, Kyle Kemper is Justin Trudeau's half brother. He's even said, like, just go surf for the rest of your life. Like, you don't have to do this. You know, you don't have to put yourself through it. And a bunch of MPs actually sat him down in a meeting and told him, we want you to step down. We want you to resign as leader because we're all in jeopardy with you leading the party, which is true. And he just said no. And rumor is, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, because we are just reading pretty cards and telling cute stories, that he cried in that meeting. And then I think he brought the hammer down, because when I saw videos, and there were people comparing the videos, so thank goodness to all the YouTubers out there who do this kind of stuff. There were videos of like an MP talking to a journalist before going into the meeting and then coming out of the meeting. That was two totally different people. That man's entire psyche had been destroyed. I don't know what went on in that room, but it was not good. And I think now we have all these MPs who are absolutely terrified. Like, it's not even just you're going to lose your job. You're not going to get reelected. I think, yeah, I don't know. The fool. Yeah, who's leading the country? Who's leading the country? It's amazing. I don't know how many people need to tell this man, we don't want you here, before he has to know the whole country hates him. I think there's like maybe 10% of the country that still thinks he's wonderful. And they're probably all sitting in liberal seats in the parliament. But the Fool is definitely about being foolish. I mean, that's, being foolish. But also what comes with this card is new energy, new adventures, new beginnings. This and spontaneity just came in. We may get a spontaneous election. Interesting. Interesting. But our Fool is definitely um, a new chapter, a new journey, the start of a story. So our life, we live our life in cycles. So we always have the same themes in our cycles. And the Fool is always the first part. Like woo, new adventure, off we go, like the hobbits going off on an adventure. And then we go through all the things that we go through to come out the other end at the world, and then we start all over again. So we do keep going through cycles. I tend to look at it like 20-year cycles, but sometimes they're shorter, sometimes they're longer. It just depends on how long it takes us to learn all the things we need to learn. The Ace of Swords. So again, new adventures, new concepts, new thoughts, newfound clarity and perspective. There is a victory element to this. It is a mind game. It's mental clarity, a breakthrough. Yeah, breakthrough. Interesting. I wonder, I don't feel like this is Justin Trudeau suddenly like coming to Jesus and getting his head out of his backside, but I think it's the country. I think it's the people of Canada are all waking up to what's going on in our government right now. And there's new plans, new communication. I think there is a lot of talk going on behind the scenes. Absolutely. And new contracts as well. This will be like voting is a contract essentially, but then there's also the people within the party that have all the contracts. So this is our part of our life where we're stepping into something more aligned. Yeah, I'm wondering. I mean, we are getting an election in a year. That's the timeline. But the question is, are we going to get an early election? Are we going to get an election before the Magician? So I would say this is Justin Trudeau. He thinks he's got it all. He thinks he's got it all figured out. He thinks he knows everything. I mean, just listen to him talk. Oh, I watch the Parliament almost every day, and I prefer when he speaks in French, because then all we hear is the translator. I don't have to hear Justin Trudeau's voice. I don't know. And then we've got Chrystia Freeland. And my family always laughs because I do an impersonation of her, because whenever the Speaker of the House calls on an MP to speak or ask their question or say whatever it is that they want to say, usually the MP will say, "Thank you, Mr. Speaker," and then say what they want to say. Chrystia Freeland, every time she stands up, she says, "Mr. Speaker," and she always sounds like that exasperated mom who's like, "Why do I have to explain this again to you people?" So yeah, it's my especially my son. I'll do it as he's getting out of the car, and I'll just say, "Mr. Speaker," and he gets so mad because he's like, "I don't like the sound of her voice." So anyway, that I don't even know how we got on that, but Justin Trudeau thinks he is the boss. He thinks he's got it all. He thinks he knows what's what. And he thinks he's emotionally intelligent. He thinks he's an intellectual. He's rich. We know that because a guy who makes around $400,000 a year has a net worth of over 85 million the last time I checked. Wonder what that's about. I wonder. And it's not hard to find. I don't even have to say allegedly. Just Google it. Just Google it. He's a public figure. He's a publicly paid figure. You are allowed access to that information, considering that money came from you, by the way, if you're Canadian. And so, yeah, he thinks he is the Lord of the Manor, top dog, large and in charge, and he has it all. But don't forget, the Magician also has the trickster energy behind it as well. That's the shadow of the Magician, is the fake, the trickster, the mask. So take that for what it's worth. The King of Wands. Oh, you know what? I was going to look up timing of the Magician. Before we move on, let me just go back. No timing now or before we're ready. King of Wands. And let's see, before I start talking, if there's timing there. Nope. Again, no timing. That's so interesting. We're not getting some timing here. Previously, when I've done readings, we're getting timings on this particular topic, but not today. Interesting. This is a very confident and strong and optimistic energy. Our King of Wands is the master of his actions. He is intentional. He knows what he's doing. He's very passionate. He knows what he wants, and he's going to go after it. This is connected with Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo, and fire. This is our spicy, spicy, spicy energy. This is big time. But our King of Wands is also very fair-minded, and he actually sees things from a soulful level. He actually thinks about people. He actually thinks about how this will benefit people, and he actually thinks about the problems that people are having and how can we help solve them. So that I would take that as Pierre, because he's actually talking about the issues that Canadians are having today. You know, he's talking about you know, Canadians can't afford to feed their children. And Justin Trudeau's talking about unisex bathrooms and green energy and the climate. Like, when you can't afford to feed your children, you don't care about the climate. You're not worried about that kind of stuff. You're not worried about, you know, who can go in what washroom and things like that. You're just trying to survive. And that's where Pierre is right now, is he's very much talking to and about the people who are really struggling right now. And our King of Wands really thinks about the people around them, which you actually need in a leader. You need someone who leadership is not being out front, pointing the way. Leadership is taking everybody on your team and helping them succeed, providing what they need to succeed so that the team succeeds. And that's leadership. Whereas now in the Liberal Party, we've got all the infighting within the party. Whereas the Conservative Party, they seem to be like they're all singing from the same hymn book right now. They're all on brand. They're all on the same message. They're all appearing to be a united front. Whether they are or not, I don't know. But they're all appearing to be a united front. And I say this simply because I do watch the Parliament every day. Or almost every day. Didn't watch it yesterday, but I will watch it this afternoon. And finally, we have our Three of Swords. Let's see what the shadow card is, actually, before we move on. There's Three of Cups. Interesting, we have two threes to finish things off. I'm going to look up the timing of our Three of Swords, October 3rd to 12th. Again, that, you know, sort of takes us back to all that, the strife. There was votes of non-confidence. There was the talk of the MPs wanting Justin Trudeau out. They want a vote. They want a secret vote to get him out of power within the party. And then, but of course, everybody really actually wants a non-confidence, so we get rid of him. So our Three of Swords is heartbreak and betrayal, sadness, unhappiness, grief. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the Canadian experience this week. That's for sure. That's for sure. But also, really, our top level meaning of the Three of Swords is we just have to have some creative thinking. Really, that's all it is a reminder to have creative thinking. And then our shadow card, the Three of Cups, we'll look up the timing, but we do know that this is about celebrations. This is about teamwork, friendship, family, cooperation. This is the card of success. And this is happiness and community. It's a big celebration card. I'll often see this when like girls' nights and weddings. I'll see this card a lot. The timing for this card is July 1st to 11th, so that could be another indication that we might not get an election till next year. And but it is about celebrating victories. So yeah, maybe we will be victorious. Maybe we will get an early election. Like, listen, in a year we'll have a new prime minister, but the hope is that we'll have a new one before then. And I always say, don't read if you can't be neutral. Well, yeah, it's hard to be neutral as a Canadian in this situation. So there we have it. If you're a new friend, I thank you for joining us today. Please stick around. I can't wait to get to know you. Don't forget to click subscribe and leave a comment and let me know that you were here. If you're an old friend, do the same. You know what to do. Say hello. Let me know what you think. Are we going to get an election before Christmas? Time is ticking on this one. And if not, then maybe we'll get an election in January. Maybe. I always said I don't want to be out campaigning and door knocking in the winter, because if you've ever heard of winters in Canada, if you are not from Canada and you've not experienced minus 40-degree weather in the winter, you have not lived. You have not lived, my friend. We are a tough bunch here in the Great White North. So, but let me know, do you think we'll get an election before Christmas? Do you think it will be in the early new year? Or do you think we're going to ride this out till October 2025? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for joining me here today. Have a magical day.